welcome to the RIPTIDE Afterparty, where everyone's welcome, particularly if you're in red and wearing a big white beard, unless, of course, you are Curtis Chapman in disguise.
Wanker.
I think we picked the wankers up, thank you, boys. I'm joined by the producers of RIPTIDE Wrestling, Josh and Tom.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Sidebar, I got to call someone a wanker to their face in a very justified, very satisfying but completely justified way last night. So I was doing a gig up at the Bunga Bunga Club in Covent Garden, and there is a very strong bandioke element to that gig. So you have people coming up and singing with the band and in a karaoke format. And they've often had quite a lot to drink, so they can be a little bit, this or that. Anyway, this guy, he did a mic drop after he finished singing. He did a big old, arm out, look, I'm going to drop the mic, this is what you do, drop the mic, and fucking, oh my God. Oh God, and just called him a wanker twice.
Yeah,
it was that.
Who do you think
it
you
was
are?
get out of here, wanker. Looks at me, wanker.
Yeah.
I'm going to tie this back into wrestling. Don't be this fan, listeners. Don't be the fan who goes up to a wrestler after a show. Go, can I get a photo? And they go, yeah, of course. And then just grab their gear or grab their mask or put them in a headlock and go, this will look great in a photo. It's not your place. Don't do it.
Boundaries, people.
Boundaries,
yes.
mate. Boundaries. Don't take that mile. Be grateful for your inch, you maggots.
Speaking of inch, of course, 1 Inch Peter came up in 2019. Why do I tie that in? Because we're looking back at 2019. This episode is going to split into 3 segments: the Ghost of RIPTIDE Christmas Past, the Ghost of RIPTIDE Christmas Present, and the Ghost of RIPTIDE Christmas Future. Thank you. The actual Christmas element doesn't really tie in all that much, although my flat has got some tinsel and fairy lights up.
It's very fucking festive in here, mate.
Thank you. We will begin with the Ghost of RIPTIDE Christmas Past. I have got 4 topics. I'm just going to say what my lists are, and you can comment on them as you please, really. So the 4 topics we've got are favourite RIPTIDE match of 2019, favourite RIPTIDE moment of 2019, favourite RIPTIDE regular star of 2019, favourite one-off star of 2019. And when I say one-off, if they were here for a couple of shows, that's fine. So, like, for example, a Sue Young. But she's not a regular, if you see what I mean.
Sure.
So let's go back to favourite RIPTIDE match of 2019. In my personal list, I have got Pac versus Cara Noir, Shakara versus Swole 2, and I have TK Cooper versus Chuck Mambo, either one. So I will break these down and we'll just see what we feel. And there's no right or wrong. This isn't like a voting system. It's just to see what discussions occur. So let's start with Pac versus Noir, because I feel confident in saying that's the most buzzworthy match you probably had this year.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So Pac being the mystery opponent for the Black Swan at Point Break, I believe it was. I think the YouTube figures alone probably back this up as a choice of the year. Are you guys happy with it, I presume?
Yeah, incredibly satisfied with that match. I think some of the kind of like the uncertainty and the risk around putting it together definitely contributes to that satisfaction. It's always an unknown quantity, man, when you're booking someone you've never booked before, and there's huge high stakes on that when it's someone that's busy, someone that is maybe a large budgetary consideration for you. Always a lot of extra anxiety, a lot of extra complication. So without sort of the extra satisfaction from those things being an issue, I think even if it had been the easiest booking in the world to make, we'd still be just over the moon with the match.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's quite when you watch it back as well, you really notice when Cara Noir's entrance hits. The crowd is already at a fever pitch before his opponents even come out. One of the sort of where there was a few tickets left, and I said to Josh prior to the event, like, "Are you sure you don't want to just announce that Pac's going to be at the show?" And to his credit, he remained steadfast and was like, "No, the surprise will be worth it." And it was like being a parent at Christmas, I think, watching people from the from the balcony just not knowing where to look because people were just losing their minds, and that was really special.
I mean, that's why it's one of the picks of my match of the year, is because the quality of the match is outstanding. They're both
world class.
World class performers. But But it is the crowd. It's the fact that everyone's losing their minds.
Pandemonium, mate.
Yeah.
Absolute fucking pandemonium.
It was listed in Fighting Spirit magazine's top 50 matches to ever take place on the British soil as well, which was pretty cool to see.
And of course, it's just great exposure for Noir because Pac is an international name. As soon as you put that on a YouTube or on a video on demand service, Kara's name's right up there. He's hanging with him. It's not a one-way match. So that is definitely in my list. Moving on to another one though. Talking about crowd reaction. Shikara versus Swole, night 2, or match 2 rather. You're not going to see much more of an invested crowd than in that match, are you? This is where Shikara, who's been a dirty heel down at Riptide, getting in fans' faces, is challenged to be a better example, to rise above him. And so Swole challenges her to do that, and Shikara rises to that challenge. And the crowd was lapping it up.
Fucking hell, weren't they just? That for me, that's like the most sort of significant or important or well, I think both of those things about it. I think it's the veil between what the crowd are, in inverted commas, cheering for and what they're actually cheering for has been. They really, really do want to see Chikara succeed and support her, and that's what that was all about. You know, it was the first possible fucking opportunity to be given the cues in the content that this was a turn for Chikara. The crowd just did not need asking fucking twice at all, to the point where actually, there's I can't remember where it was, but there was some points in it where people had latched on to supporting Chikara before those clues in the content had started really coming in, and I'm like, oh, not yet guys, but it's just a perfect example of the fact it was the time for her to do that.
Yeah, and when she fired up, I just remember the goosebumps kicking in, because that was when it was just perfect execution of and go, and all of a sudden the crowd just came unglued, and it was just really one of those moments where it's still real to me, damn it. Do you know what I mean?
There was definitely some tears. I could see people crying around me.
I was. Yeah.
Oh, I was next 2 weeks, mate. Every time I thought about it. I thought about it.
It's that beautiful photo from Rob Brazier as well that captured the moment so beautifully. Terrific.
Okay, and the final one on my list, TK versus Mambo, whichever one you want, because they had two absolute barnstormers of matches.
Which do you prefer? Can you even pick?
Well, in a way, I'm more impressed with the second one because they've already raised the bar and it's harder to meet a new standard. And I think they did. I think there's only one moment of comedy in the first one, but they stripped it out of the second one. And I was pleased with that, and it was all to do with the Samoan head thing. So I just don't think it's needed in a heated match.
Exactly.
So in a way, I'm more impressed with the second one because they found ways to work on what they'd already done. They even were countering moves differently in the second one to how they had in the first one. So they'd obviously knew what they were doing and knew how to build on it. So in that way, I'm impressed with the second one. But gut instinct, the first one for me. But I think that between those two matches, they've covered everything. They've got the emotion of the crowd because the crowd is split. You've got high-level performance from both of them. You've got real emphasis on how important the title is, that it's breaking up a friendship. So, yeah, I just thought you can take your pick out of the two, but I think both of those hold up as matches of the year.
Yeah, I'm very impressed that they managed to build on the first one, seeing as that before Pac and Cara Noir, everyone was saying that was going to be the match of the year, dead cert. And not only did they manage to follow it, they managed to top it. I think the crowd were louder anyway, and that's usually my gauge for how good a match was.
My favourite, I think, of the two is probably the first one, but I think we're around that being, for me, the match that sort of made the title. And it was the first time we'd been able to do that kind of a build on a championship match or on a match in general, the way that we built that one. And I don't think people, that was the first match of that sort of quality and intensity that we'd had. Having the intensity of wrestling and the quality of work rate alongside a Riptide storyline that had never happened. It'd never been localised, I don't think, to that. So that was a real watershed, and I think match 2 surpassed 1 in a lot of areas. But for me, there's just an intangible about one.
Yeah, I think
actually there's an intangible about two. There's just slightly less. The fact that, like, believe it or not, listener, we had a few quite troublesome constraints around the booking of the top of the around the top of the card around that show, and there were lots of potential solutions to those problems, all of them having some fairly sort of meaty drawbacks. The drawback of the way that it went down in the end, as it was being discussed with some very, very respectable senior kind of figures that we talked to about booking, was like, you know, yeah, you can do Mambo TK there, but how are they going to have a better match?
How's it elevated? How's it different to the first one?
How are they going to have a better match than they did? And I kind of had to ignore that, because we ended up doing that. But the matter is, they did have a better match. I think it's a huge credit to the talents that it was not, and we didn't think that we were just going like, oh, that worked, let's do it again. And we tried to present something that was a different situation, obviously, and it wasn't just the same thing again. But they worked their asses off to differentiate those matches. Quality.
Well, we need to rock on because we've got a lot more to cover in this
My
podcast.
bad.
No, not at all. It's the sort of match you need to talk about because that's how good they were. Move on to favourite Riptide moment of 2019. Now, in this list, I have Pac just turning up. Just the crowd reaction.
Fuck me.
The music. And the very small minority of the audience knew the music, but you could see them get excited, and a little ripple went out as they sort of turned their heads and go, it's Pac. And it just spread out. Wow. And yeah, just watch the crowd alone was part of that. I probably should have started talking about that already, but I have. Second moment of 2019. DBP coming out of the Rumble.
Oh,
yeah. I forgot about that.
Unexpected, and yet made perfect sense. And then immediately so much heat on TK for coming out and kicking him in the arbles.
Oh, yeah. One of my favourite things when people, they talk to people and they say, oh, you into that wrestling? And I'm like, yeah, we had Dave Benson Phillips turn up as surprise number 30 in our Rumble match.
That's so good.
Yeah, that seems to be the hook that Pete gets. Really? Like, okay, yeah.
Why not?
Oh man, it's so good.
I think it's disgusting the way that you call casuals, Tom, affecting the integrity of the art form. Fuck you.
Casuals, did I say that?
Nudes.
Yeah.
Why don't you go with that? Pfft, loser.
Yeah.
Right. Sticking with the Rumble though, another moment. Jack Sexsmith wins the Royal Rumble.
Brilliant.
That was a hell of a moment. Again,
Big
tears in
moment.
the eyes of certain fans. Obviously, couldn't pan out the way perhaps everyone had hoped. But,
Yeah, I mean, I think
you know.
with the situation with him retiring as it is, I'm fucking so glad that we were able to rubber stamp him into the legacy of the company and give like one of those like kind of like a big accolade,
Big meaningful win. Yeah.
Especially with so much of the angle being the writing being around fucking downtrodden babyface kind of thing. Like with his retirement, I get gladder and gladder that he had that, and that he has that, and that he is recognised in the history of the product as much as possible. Really.
Yeah. It was a great moment as well. When the last person's feet hit the floor in a rumble, and it's over, and it's gone.
Fucking hell.
Like it's a long old match to put together, let alone performing. But
So let me get this straight. Your favourite moment of 2019 was going, oh, that's good. I don't have to worry about that for a year.
my partner Gemma said she could see me exhaling from the other side of the room. Just it was
Yeah, fucking hell.
a few sleepless nights.
Next favourite moment of 2019, Cassius wins the Pride of Brighton medal. I can call it a championship. It is a championship.
I had
Simply
to
in a
see
medal format. Again, I guess I'm on the hat trick for repeating myself, but tears in the crowd really meant something. You could tell how much it meant to people, particularly in Brighton, which is known for sort of the LGBTQ feeling and community. To have a representative win in a major show, very feel good moment.
Yeah, fuck me, man. I mean, I remember celebrating the celebration. Finger quotes, representative performers have this extra pressure, right? Which is that
you got a whole community on your back.
You got a whole community on.
Clearly, you represent everyone else who's even vaguely like you,
right?
Yeah.
And that extra level of scrutiny is, you know, it's almost assumes that it's just like, oh well, you know, it's almost assumed that like this is a marginalised person, so the fact that they have this position must mean that they're extra good. And if they're not, and if they don't meet any of my standards about what I see on this day or not, and they'll say this person's only gotten this opportunity because of this, that, or the other. And I believe in certain situations it's appropriate to give people an opportunity because of this, that, or the other. Quite fucking frankly, because representation is an investment and representation is important. Not the fucking case with Cassius.
No.
Not the fucking case. And
he proved it that day. It was not like, you know, there's no such thing as tokenism when it comes to his performance.
Right,
You
but
know,
there's a
three
lot
times in that.
Yeah.
Like, even forgetting the rest of it, just the weather and going out 3 times.
But there's a lot riding on it, man. There's a lot riding on, and for the fact for that match to go off without the hitch, and for that kind of that story to play out over that day, and for him to get just that joyous adulation, man.
And that was one of the
with me for a long time. That
was one of the sort of things we were looking at. And it's like, I wonder how the crowd will take to Cassius, who's a relatively new face at Riptide, has only debuted a couple of months before, going on to win the whole thing. It was evidently the right move, but yeah, wow. He jumped on it with aplomb, and credit where it's due to Mr. Chapman as well for really getting the best out of the situation as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was a real. As much as we're focusing quite rightly on Cassius, I think Chapman's performance was brilliant.
I think that was a star-making performance
Yeah.
for him. I think we said at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's fucking incredible, and he did an incredible job with those matches and that story. I couldn't. I'm really proud of it.
But yeah, again, one of those very real moments where I think when Cassius runs into the crowd and you just see people's jubilation, it still gives me the boo-hoos. Yeah.
When everyone lining up for pictures with him afterwards as well, he got a locker room ovation.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but I was stood right where he was with James Muswhite getting the photo straight after the win with it. And I had my recorder. I did think about stopping him for an interview for this show. And I still don't know if I made the right call or not, but I really felt like it was more important he got his photographs with all the fans, and I just stayed out of it.
Absolutely.
I got a bit of the podcast room who was like, "You idiot! You should have pushed through."
But yeah, I mean, you allude to sort of booking for representation or booking for to fill these spaces, but man, like if we hadn't. It just goes to show if we weren't booking Cassius at this point, then we'd be out of touch and pretty useless promoters, I think.
That's a good fucking point. Yeah. That's a really good point. It wasn't like, exactly. We're like, fly, my sweet little butterfly. I hope you can. And then they, it's a rough world out there. Maybe people as woke and as accepting as us. We can only dream. We'll try to teach them. And there's just this whole group of people that are like, yes, of course, you fucking cunts, do it sooner.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay, well, great, I suppose.
Just needed the platform, needed nothing else.
All these people, you just needed to, okay, cool, right, okay, fine, fuck it.
Lovely. Well then, let's move on to favourite Riptide regular star of 2019. Now, out of everything we've said so far, this would be particularly unfortunate for you guys to try and weigh in on. I feel, on a professional level, you treat everyone the same, and they all work equally hard for you, and so on. So I'm just running through my list. You don't have to. You can just talk about their impact or whatever.
So,
no order for this one. Spike Trevay. Now, he would have been much higher on the list, but unfortunately has been injured for half the year. Now, still able to come out, get reactions and drive the stories forward because of the sort of talent he is. But he can't. But he's only an honourable mention really because he hasn't been able to physically perform. So I hear a lot of men have that problem. Jordan Breaks. I mean, the reactions he's getting. He was popular at the start of the year. You remember Pride of Brighton at the youth centre. He was starting to come out a little bit more, slapping fans' hands.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you could see he was getting a warmer reaction. And then it's just carried in an upwards trajectory since. And now he's getting bigger wins under his belt. He's getting more and more vocal reaction. I'm starting to notice on social media he's starting to get shouted out a lot more. So
Matt Richards put him in. Was it an honourable mention?
It was honourable mention of stars to watch for next year.
Yeah, but I still thought that was like, because I mean, of course his opinions are northern centric. There's a fantastic fucking scene up there, and I was actually to hear Jordan, but I was like, yeah, fucking hell yeah, he's in this list. Wicked, Jordan's getting cool.
Yeah,
like that, and and that is the difference. It's like, oh fuck, Jordan's getting cool, and like in the ring as well. His like in ring like reaction to like crowd tackles and things like that is just gone up to this whole new level, and it's just him being a bloke from Brighton as well. It's just like he's just a witty, affable bloke from Brighton, and this is something that like me and Tom would have had many conversations about years ago, going like, oh, we'd love to get this Jordan guy on in Brighton, but he doesn't know much for a gimmick, and I don't want to say the gimmick is no gimmick because that's not the fucking case, but like
the gimmick is it's him. He is. Yeah,
it's not a flashy gimmick.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not a flashy gimmick. Yeah, there's not in there. He doesn't dress up as a toucan or something. But
book it.
shots fired at Cara Noir.
Yeah.
Those elements, the things that people would talk about as like a weakness. Those areas are filling up, and he is becoming turgid.
With regards to not having a gimmick, I think you can surpass a gimmick if you're the best at something, if you stand out for being the best at something. And I mean, Jordan Breaks has proved himself to certainly be one of the like foremost technical wrestlers. And obviously draws a lot of comparisons to an early Zack Sabre Jr., but I think in his recent performances has started to channel a bit of Bryan Danielson as well, in that it's not just techers, it's a bit of charm, it's a bit of wit, and especially his toughness. Like in his performances with Mike Bailey and David Starr, for instance, with Makabe. Yeah, some grit there. Mills as well. Yeah, tore the house down with Mills.
Yeah, that was another gem to go back and check out from the Pride of Brighton 2019.
And also, his matches with Trivet and Mambo as well showed different sides of him as well. Become a very, very rounded performer.
Fucking rocket, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Earlier when I was picking matches of the year, it was very close to saying Breaks versus Speedball. But we need to keep going with our favourite regular stars. Chuck Mambo, come on, world champion for almost the entire year. Incredible defences. We have Haskins, Brown, TK. It's a big list, and they were all good in different ways. But it wasn't just it's not just putting on the main events time after time, which is enough to get you on this list. It's the crowd interaction. It's the fact he held the belt with pride. He was always carrying it around in promos for Twitter and photos, always interacting with the fans, and not in like a forced phony way. Like, he's a nice guy and he treats people well.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, it was his year to be a representative, I guess, of Riptide, but also himself.
Yeah, fantastic year. Wonderful to see him getting busier and busier, and just, I think, representing us better and better and better.
Yeah.
And fuck me, managing to stay adored as a babyface on top in a like trendy style promotion for like over a year as a white meat babyface. Fucking cheers, mate. Nice work.
Yeah. It's like Hulkamania watching him sometimes. Oozes this like likeable, affable charisma, doesn't he? And just
because he's comfortable as himself.
Yeah.
And then that comes out. Not just the heightenedness because he's an over-the-top kind of guy.
And honestly, one of the nicest people in the scene.
He's happy in himself, and that just projects out.
My favourite, I think my not even favourite piece of wrestling content. My favourite piece of content ever surfaced this year, and it was Chuck Mambo. It wasn't Riptide Wrestling. It was Attack, the Goosebumps show. He was a vampire, but he was like a fucking interview with the vampire. So, but his costume was like bow tie, bandage around the neck, overcoat. Like he was like a Victorian dude who'd just been bitten and didn't know what was happening to him, and like.
I haven't seen
this portrait, man, and he's there with the fake teeth. And he's got the blood. He's got the blood all down from where he's drunk blood. but he's also he's got the bloody bandage from where he'd been turned, and like there's this confusion in his eyes and this mournful longing. It's just like it's beyond gorilla. The portrait, incredible work. The character work there is incredible. The fucking costume is incredible. The like lols behind it all it's just, man, it's look it up, listener. Oh.
But he really has surpassed. I mean, a lot of people who haven't seen him wrestle in many places would assume that Mambo is just a sort of light-hearted, curtain-jerking comedy guy, and he's really, I mean, look at his body of work, across the country. But I mean, I think particularly at Riptide, and you'll see that he's a very, very well-rounded, fucking excellent wrestler. Yeah.
Well, it's still on our favourite Riptide regulars. We've had 2 of ETM come up. We might as well have TK Cooper. Aside from the match with Mambo, which we've already discussed, great one with Candy, with that unbelievable photograph during the Spanish Fly off the top. And also at the Open Air Theatre, you had Karen and Speedball. It's not just the match quality, which time and time again is fantastic. I think he has a real fire about him. Like, he seems like his confidence is up. He seems like he really wants to excel. And even just like his presentation, it's little things, but the little captain's armband which he now wears, I think he might have put on a little bit more muscle, I'm not sure, but he just, something about him just screams like when you've got bad posture and suddenly you stand up straight. That's why I'm seeing TK this year.
He's just really, I don't know, after a very tough 2018 for the guy, we're just impossible not to notice. The confidence and the swagger and the just execution just skyrocketing through the year, really.
He's awoken. He's realised his potential, and I think he's ready to take what it is now.
Absolutely.
Plus, he did help me out when I broke my arm. Although, if he'd helped me out further, maybe he'd be top of the list. So, number 1 star of Riptide regular, in my opinion. Again, it's not supposed to be a numbered list, but there's no way to deny this. I think 2019 it has to be Karen Noir. I mean, he hasn't even won a match.
Not even won a match.
Yeah. He's like essentially a main event talent who always gets the full focus with whatever he's doing, and gets a 5-star level match out of whoever he's with. And you go away going, God, that guy was good. And he doesn't even talk. He doesn't talk. He doesn't win, and you still think of him as a main eventer.
And we're talking about a range of different matches, like we say.
Oh yeah.
Pac, Su Yung, Cassius, incredible match with Cassius.
Yeah. I raved about that match a couple of episodes ago. Just can do it all effortlly. Is absolutely connected with the fans.
Without winning, without talking.
Yeah. I don't know how you can do better than that, hence he's kind of the top of them, in my opinion.
Top of the tree, man. Yeah.
Favourite one-off star of 2019? We'll just run through these fairly quick. Not in a set order, but the Rascals as a tag team, I thought just for the offence and the entrance and everything, I thought they got a massive impact. Same with Club Tropicana.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. You want to go away remembering a team. Club Tropicana.
There's something about Captain Sexy that just it's so dangerous. Yeah. No, the Rascals, listen, man, we always felt that would be a proper match. I mean, it's very easy to say, we're a wrestling promotion, so of course we're going to think one of the best tag teams in the world is, a match made in heaven. But, for their look, for their dynamism, as you said, the offense that they have, we always really wanted to get that in front of our cameras.
Yeah, tailor-made, wasn't it? Yeah,
see, because when people are moving quick, that shows off what we do, and when people have got chiseled abs, that shows off what we do.
And also, talking about moving quick-witted, look at the way they interact,
cheeky,
the heckling back and forth with the crowd. It went down well.
And I mean, the series of matches they had with OJMO and Connor Mills, which really elevated both of those guys tremendously. With ETM and with the Medusa Complex as well. Yeah, all fucking great.
Yeah, for sure. Su Yung, I realise that technically she appeared 3 times in the year, but I'm counting her because
she didn't wrestle the first time.
Yeah, and the other 2 was over a 3-day tour. So I'm counting Su Yung. Again, it's the impact. It's the look at the 2 different matches: Gene Money versus Karen Noir. Equally insane, but in very different manners.
Very different matches, very different matches. But yeah, man, she's awesome. She's really fucking awesome. And again, you're talking about an X factor or a presence or whatever you want to call it. It's changes the atmosphere in a room.
And no matter what she's doing, no matter how serious the opponent, she just remains so committed, and that's just amazing to watch.
Yeah, good point. Makabe.
It was a good opportunity to find one of the top technicians in the world and put him against ours and see what happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was an amazing one-off. Hopefully he'll come back at some stage.
Lovely dude.
Yep, nice personality goes a long way because it also shows how you interact at a merch stand or if someone stops you on the street.
I mean, I know we've already spoken about Swole, but like, yeah, man, like if we're talking about one-off stars, for someone to come in and excel at the role that they were brought in to do in terms of tell a story and tell that story with Chikara, like, wow, what a fucking fairy godmother that wrestler is. Like, hell yeah.
She came in, she left Riptide in a better place than she found it in the space of 2 shows. It's pretty remarkable.
Very generous performer, I thought.
Yeah. Awesome.
And of course, back.
Jesus Christ, could I not be happier with what happened there? My lord.
I took it very literally with regards to people only turning up once.
That's fun.
Jordan Grace, I think. Yeah. Just what an aura.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. And
I feel bad. I actually forgot to write it down.
Yeah. I mean, like we had every intention of having her for longer or for more dates, and unfortunately it didn't line up. But I mean, man, what an impression she left just by beating the shit out of Rob the Goblias.
I didn't realise that she was as young as she is as well. I think she's like 21 or 22. So she's somewhere between 20 and 22, and it's just like, oh right, you're that good.
Yeah,
I thought you were like
seasoned veteran,
fucking sick, but you're like a fucking alien. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's going places. Darius Lockhart as well. Very excited to work with him at some point soon again.
Now, yeah, let's talk about that as a debut actually, because for someone to come in with like, I want to say like that the guy's got no name, but like
no fanfare that we'd certainly
fucking fanfare, like, and for him to just come in and teach that crowd what he's all about and show off and exhibit his skills as well as he did. I don't know. It's like, it was like a debut masterclass as far as I'm concerned. If you're not coming in with a big weight of whatever behind you, if you're coming as a relative unknown, I guess is what I'm looking to say here. Fuck, man, he did a great job. Wow.
If you were to go, who was Darius Lockhart, and you'd respond, oh, he's the guy that says be a revolutionary, you go, that's the guy. Yeah. You wouldn't forget.
Well, there was one star better actually, who did a one-off appearance, but Tom unfortunately won't have seen it. But of course, Bear, who came up in our Dungeons and Dragons Riptide game.
Of course,
I think Bear is the undisputed champ of that game.
People have been pretty keen on Bear. Yeah.
Hit the archives, guys.
So let's move on to the next entire chapter, the Ghost of Riptide Xmas Present. So this is actually just going to be, I guess, a little news segment, because we're talking about the present. Combat Panto happened at time of recording a week ago. Let's start with a piece of big news coming out of it. Rosa Rose is no longer going to be your MC, your ring announcer. What's all that about?
Yeah, it's very sad. So Rosa is going to be needing those dates in her calendar to pursue musical projects next year. So that is, that's how we know Rosa. We know her. She first and foremost is a singer. The thinking behind getting her involved in Riptide was to take broader expertise in terms of crowd engagement to Riptide, and for us to build up the kind of wrestling mechanics alongside that. We had a bit of a rocky start. We've had some mixed results along the way. I think, just always be incredibly thankful and grateful for all the hard work and commitment that she put in. I think what I now see is like more and more like kind of shitty situations that we kind of put her in, and like if we were ever frustrated with something that she'd said that was wrong or like whatever. When we're trying to work out what's happened, it was I worked out, it's just like, oh, it's us. It's us that keep failing her.
She's filling in the blanks, not as someone who's just come into wrestling, and as you would, you just assume that that's what you're going to say. And
and fast forward to her last show, and she's coming up with ideas. You know, she's pitching stuff to us that ends up in the show that solves loads of problems that we weren't doing X because it had these problems to it, and then sort of off her own back, she comes up and says, "Oh, can we do Y?" And I'm like, no, wait, hold on. yes, we can. Yes, let's do Y. And for her to get to that point, at the point where she has to leave is kind of, I guess, bittersweet in a way. But in terms of that, like, just thank you, Rosa. Clap, clap.
I'll forever be very thankful for her making great moments even better in many instances. But in particular, I think is dealing with the broken ring incident. Yeah, and now just making everyone go home happy, and that was really special. And yeah, she was awesome.
All right, well. So long, Rosa. Stay in touch. I won't press you for details. I imagine you're on the hunt for the next ring announcer.
We're on the trail. Don't you worry about that.
Okay.
Don't you worry about that.
Good. Just pointing out, I will be at the shows anyway. What could go wrong if you give me a live mic? Quite a lot.
I was going to say, you tell me, mate.
And coming out of Combat Panto, I think there's a few stories we need to at least touch upon. I'm going to avoid full-on spoilers if I can, but if you've reached this point, listeners, you're waiting for the video on demand to go up, skip ahead, say, 5 minutes, just if you want to be safe, okay? I think one of the big stories coming out is Spike Gervais' Reign of Pain, as I'm calling it. He's now demanding free speech disappear. He's declared, I guess, war on more and more people.
Dissidents,
yes, nice. The power's going to his head, I think. But it just seems a new level of vileness has come up from him. I guess on the flip side, though, a little rebellion, if you look at the amount of people who came at the end of the show to try and take down MVE. So it's like gang warfare, to quote the worst period of WWE.
Right, that's it. War games!
We're now in the era of money versus everybody.
Nicely put.
I can't wait.
I'm sorry, Mambo, you were amazing, but you're done. At least for now. At least for now.
Jesus Christ. Well, we know who's going to be fucking keeping Mambo busy in 2020. Jesus fucking Christ.
MJ on the payroll.
I'm saying he was a great figurehead, and he may be a great figurehead again, but at this moment in time, Spike Gervais is the figurehead, and the company already feels different for it. However, there could be someone to take it off him, because we've got a new number one contender, Jordan Breaks. Local boy done good. Done very good.
He's done very good.
Interesting to see where that goes as well.
Amazing main event with David Starr.
That was something I didn't know I wanted to see until it happened.
Didn't know we were going to see it until the day.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously Ridgeway, unfortunately, couldn't manage the show for very good reasons, but replaced David Starr.
And you don't have to disservice Chris Ridgeway to be excited about a David Starr match either.
Yes, yeah. But no, I mean, David Starr is obviously a main event talent these days. He's in many promotions, so getting him down here for that slot. And Jordan's first main event as well. Mm-hmm. So
I think we sort of had a chat about it the other day. I think so. In 2017, Jordan was ring crew. 2018, Jordan debuted. 2019, Jordan main evented, and in 2020, Jordan is wrestling for the Brighton Championship. So quite the trajectory.
Wish my career went that way.
I believe first ring crew member to ascend to the main event as well. Nice. Good on you, Jordan.
Yeah, mate. And fucking take that, Ojmo.
Now on to our third and final spooky chapter, the Ghost of Xmas Riptide Future. Potentials, crazy potentials. Dream match features an import whoever you like versus a regular talent. And at the end, just a prediction of the breakout stars for 2020. Let's move on to Dream Match, featuring an import versus a regular. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Spike Gervais, because of course it was teased a while ago. So it could be a fun payoff down the line. Plus you've got the politics of both sides. So there we are. Quite pleased with this one I've written down. It came to me in the shower.
Mm.
I try not to think about men in the shower. Sometimes it happens. Marty Skrull versus Cara Noir. It's a black bird versus a black bird.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing. I think the both of them get across so much with their entrances and their body language, but also the actual ring time skill level is off the chart for both. So I think that would be astounding.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Jordan Breaks versus Timothy Thatcher.
Oh, fuck.
A little bit of the graps.
Very
sore chest for Jordan. I keep,
Yeah.
he keeps getting his chest caved in. I don't think against Timothy Thatcher that would be any different. But that's a dream one for me. And finally, Jeff Cobb versus Chuck Mambo in a Hawaii cage match. I don't know what a Hawaii cage match is, but the words came out, and I thought that sounds good.
Pineapple rings on the top of it.
What? No, maybe it's built out of pineapple husks.
Nice, there you go.
Yeah, let's do that.
Do you remember the Punjabi prison match?
I do.
Yeah, when they just they built this massive thing for the Great Khali, and the Great Khali couldn't do the show because of elevated liver enzymes. So the Big Show wrestled the Undertaker in a Punjabi prison match for no reason.
That's fucking amazing.
And it was shite as well. But yeah,
Yeah. It looked good. That's all you can say for it.
I think they got a toy out of it. To be fair.
What have you got, Tom? Because you said you had some dream matches written down.
So if we're talking a WWE wrestler versus a Riptide wrestler, I'd love to see Brock Lesnar versus Spike Trivet. Yeah. Brock Lesnar in full on like Brock Lesnar mode as well.
Do you want to book it as an MMA match?
Oh yeah, why
get
not?
around the WWF contract that way.
Yeah, we'll put Big Van Vader in there as well as a special enforcer, and
I mean that's less likely.
New Jack and all your favourite hard mad bastards.
Jesus.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of this earlier? Shark Boy versus Candy Floss.
Well, there you go, of course.
He's like the Jules Shark. She's like the sweet innocent person who goes swimming in the sea.
I don't know how this fits in, but David Starr, I really, really want to see him wrestle Chris Jericho one day. Yeah, the charisma just writes itself, doesn't it? Okay, yeah. So I don't want to see Shawn Michaels come out of retirement, but if he did, him and Cara Noir would be really good, wouldn't it?
It would be pretty decent.
Yeah. And shout out to my boy on Twitter, John Cena, as well. I think the Session Moth would be a tremendous opponent.
Oh, would they be opponents or would they tag up?
Don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave Benson's the ref for that one.
Oh yeah.
Have you got any dream matches, Josh? Or is this an unfair expectation?
No, I've got some dream matches. I would very much like to see the Anti-Fun Police versus Wrestle Too Cool. That's something I would really like to see with my eyes. I would really like to see Candice LeRae versus Tyler Bate in a singles match. That was something that we tried to do, were going to do, but snow and injuries and things kind of put the fucking willies up that one. So that's a shame.
Similarly, we didn't manage to get the Bruiserweight versus the Boozerweight, which we also had booked for a show as well.
Same show. Penta versus Cara Noir.
Sorry, that off the cuff. That's amazing.
Fucking Shamrock versus Cara Noir. Matt Riddle versus Cara Noir. Keith Lee versus Cara. At this point, you're just. It's just a Cara Noir fest, isn't it? I would love to see TK Cooper wrestle Ali. I would love to see TK Cooper wrestle fucking Brock.
I did think that, yeah.
Actually, do you know what? When I interviewed him, TK Cooper grew up watching Paul London and was a fan, and that's one of the reasons he started doing flippy stuff. So TK Cooper versus Paul London.
There you go.
So that was a dream one.
There you go. Spike Trivet versus Willie Mack is a match that I've wanted to see for a while. Around the time that was something that kind of popped into my head the last time that Anarchy Pro were doing shows. Spike was their champion. He was doing a lot of death matches, and it would be that kind of a match I'd love to see with those two, like a proper brawly, fucking just garbage bollocks.
I'm getting the impression you really like Cara and you really want to see Spike suffer.
Something like that, yeah.
Basically, yeah. I think Cara Noir and the Velveteen Dream would be really cool.
See, originally when I designed this, I'd said no New Japan, no WWE, to keep it not likely, but just that air of maybe. But the more we've got into proper Dream, the more fun it is, really.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mate, fucking oh my god, Candy Floss versus Molly Holly, just this ultimate just nice off. Cassius Travis Banks, that's something I'd fucking want to see. That's something I'd fucking want to see.
Well, I think we've given ourselves something to think about. More than that, we've given you something to work towards, Josh. If you could just dig deep in the wallet.
Get Shawn Michaels and Brock Lesnar on the blower. Yeah.
No, let's finish this up because we've got the last thing, which is the prediction of the breakout star for 2020. Impossible not to start with number one contender, Jordan Briggs. Obviously, we've already waxed lyrical about how well he's done in 2019 and how much he's gone from, as you've said earlier, a couple of years back, ring crew to really main event it. But I would say he hasn't actually had that moment. He hasn't had that crowning, that intangible element that you should go, this is it. So I think that 2020 could be that moment for him. Shakara, she's a brand new face. Lot to change up and see how she gets on, but it could be her, yeah. She's got the crowd behind her. I've never seen her as a face before. I want to see what she's like with that. Maybe she could dominate. She could be the brand new megastar coming out of this year. Candy Floss, obviously, she's had a very rough year this year. She's already said she wants to have a little bit of time to herself and then come back when she's psychologically ready next year.
Yeah.
But again, maybe that all fresh start could make her hungry for success again. Be interested to see where Candy goes. Gene Money, getting massive reactions constantly.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Anywhere he goes, everywhere he goes, whatever he's being asked to do, people walk away talking about Gene Money.
And of course Cassius, current Pride Brighton champion. I mean, if he keeps the title long enough, he can challenge for the main title.
He can.
But also, even aside from the storyline side of things, as a performer, there's other levels to him which we're starting to see. And then we have got the representational element, which in itself, is a good thing, but it's not the only thing he has. So it'll be interesting to see him develop in a broader sense.
It's been really satisfying seeing people maybe saying, and we didn't, there wasn't a lot of criticism for Cassius being that champion and this and that. We haven't seen a lot of criticism for it. But what we are seeing now that he's solidified himself is a few people popping out and saying, tell you what, I kind of thought this guy was a character guy, but wow. In that sense, he's a very good advert for inclusivity, because he's fucking got the shit to back it up,
I love that his moveset is predominantly based on 90s or late 90s, early 90s WWF divas as well.
Yeah.
Literally all his moves, when you think about it. And,
he calls himself a diva.
Yeah, it's just a nice little trinket there that I just love watching him.
My brain went to in the video games, the women's finish is often just a big slap.
Yeah. Special woman slap too or something. Yeah.
Because he's got a brilliant DDT, so I guess there's one thing he's doing different.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he did nick it off Mickey James, but still.
Oh, well. My brain has gone back to the dream matches, I'm sorry. But
Cassius versus Mickey James.
No, well, sure, but no, I'm now thinking Robbo versus Brock.
Oh, yeah.
Speedball Mike Bailey versus Brock. Speedball's been fucking hard done by there to not get in he's slipped between the cracks between import and regular guys.
Yeah, that obviously did come. The same thing with Gene, right? I know he's not an import, but I don't think he's quite done it often enough to be a regular, but he's down here too often to be a one-off, so
he's someone that he's a part of a group of 3 people that debuted at the Rumble that feel like they've been here forever, and that's Cassius, Sugar and Gene. Cassius and Gene specifically, I mean Sugar has not been available for all of the dates in between then, so we would have had him back more than we have since then, but they just it's unbelievable sometimes when you think about how fucking over those 2 are, when the actual level of exposure that they've had to the audience has been, almost feels negligible when you consider the reactions that they're getting.
And Gene Money again for the variety of roles he's been in as well. Just I mean, I think the coup de grace of Gene Money's. Apart from the half an hour Combat Panto match he was in, I think that Su Yung match is one of my favourite Riptide matches. It's just so ridiculous.
It was something else, and particularly I think that I might be misremembering, but I think that was the same night as Club Tropicana.
It was, yeah.
Fucking hell.
And that was an amazing comedy match. And I was like, well, can you have two comedy matches in one show that both hold up? Yes, you can.
It was a horror comedy match.
Yeah. They felt very, very different.
I would urge anybody, as a coming to the end of the show call to action, to be checking out Brighton Spirit, particularly show 3 if you haven't already. I think it's been regarded as one of the strongest Riptide shows from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so many bangers on there. It's, yeah. Real good fun.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good way to wrap all this up. Is we've got the next show is the Pride of Brighton 2020 in March. How can people check that out?
Well, they can buy a ticket. They can buy a ticket. You can get those at buytickets.at/Riptide Wrestling, or indeed you can type in Riptide Wrestling to any form of social media that you may want to use, and there'll be a pinned tweet or something like that with a ticket link. Equally, you can go to riptidewrestling.com and there'll be a direct link to the tickets there, and anything that we do. 14th of March, come down, unless you're Irish, in which case you'll obviously be at Scrapomania on that day.
If that sells out, come to Riptide.
If that sells out, come to Riptide.
If you could still get across the Irish border at this point.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Nearly made it, Tom. Nearly made it through the pod. Even with mentions of Spike and Zack Sabre, you had to bring politics into it. What are the requirements to be in the tournament?
The requirements to be in the tournament. Okay, so we're going to have at least 2 first round matches on the 14th of March for the Pride of Brighton tournament. The Pride of Brighton tournament, you need to be either under £205 in weight or under 25 years of age. So you can be £300 and 21, and you're allowed in because you're under the age limit. You can be £160 and 42 because you're under the weight limit. That we then have that tournament will have its conclusion in the summer. The winner will become the incumbent Pride of Brighton. Will then hand over the Pride of Brighton medal to the winner of the new tournament, and as they hand it over to the new Pride of Brighton person, they become the number 1 contender. Yeah, it's a hot potato. It's a number 1 contender's hot potato, and the timer goes off when the subsequent tournament finishes.
Sounds good. I like the fact that you've got 2 different requirements for the tournament for entrance, because I think it gives a lot more variety than if it was just under 22s.
Yep, and
fresh blood.
And maybe everyone will get fucking signed. So we thought we'd give ourselves some options.
All right. Well, I think we can end there. Oh wait, no. I'm looking down. I've got my Lycos t-shirt on. If we're in dream matches, I'll have him out of retirement. Yeah. And he can face Hurricane.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry, it occurred to me in the moment.
And on that
bombshell, now we can end.
Merry Christmas! Thank you for your postcard, for your fucking Christmas cards, everybody, and thank you for all your support. We've had a great year in terms of kind of. I feel like we kind of figured out a little bit more. Like we know what we're doing a little bit, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, this community is amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm not saying thanks to anyone. You get this shit for free.
All right.
That's the spirit of Christmas, my friend.
Okay.
Right.
The Brighton spirit of Christmas.
I've got a little black Christmas tree over there.